Hey everyone, this is Senior Living News with Dale Corpus, powered by the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast. I'm Dale, your Bay Area Senior Transition Specialist, and think of me as your friendly guide through the ever-changing world of senior living. We'll tackle the serious stuff, but also find some optimism and even a smile along the way. Here's what's on the menu today. 1. A nursing home closing abruptly, forcing nearly 100 residents to relocate. 2. Senior housing developments slowing down with some projects stalling. 3. A proposed federal commission that could reshape long-term care policy. 4. A fresh report on whether regulators are actually protecting residents. 5. CFOs speaking out about the financial pressures facing senior living. 6. This week's helpful tip: spotting red flags that a facility may be in trouble. And 7, fun fact about solo agers redefining family caregiving. Let's dive in. So first up, one of the week's biggest headlines comes out of Gardendale, Alabama, where the Magnolia Ridge Nursing Home, a 148-bed facility, is set to close its doors by October 15. Roughly 100 residents are being relocated as we speak. According to the reporting from the U.S. Sun, the closure is tied to the ongoing bankruptcy of Genesis Healthcare, the parent company. Regulators are also decertifying facilities that can't meet quality and safety benchmarks. For families, this kind of abrupt change can feel devastating. Imagine packing up your loved one, moving them across town, and trying to secure continuity of care in just a few weeks. This story is a reminder for all of us. Financial stability matters just as much as the quality of care on its tour. If a facility is part of a struggling chain, families need to know about it before signing up. Here in the Bay Area, where closures and ownership changes happen too, it's worth asking direct questions about funding, licensing, and inspection history. Because in the end, we're not just talking about buildings, we're talking about lives being uprooted. Next up, let's look at a trend that directly affects families planning ahead: the slowdown in senior housing development. According to Senior Housing News, providers had big hopes for 2025, but new unit growth has fizzled. In fact, the second quarter saw just over 800 new units nationwide, representing less than a 1% increase in supply. Financing, high construction costs, and regulatory delays are all squeezing projects. For Bay Area families, this has two big impacts. 1. Supply is tight. With fewer new communities opening, wait lists will remain long. 2. Costs stay high. When supply doesn't grow, pricing power stays in the hands of operators. But there's a flip side. Operators are focusing harder on customer experience, trying to retain residents and attract new ones with better programming, wellness, and hospitality-style services. So if you're out touring, don't just ask about costs. Ask how they're differentiating themselves in a market where new supply isn't flooding in. Are they innovating in food service, activities, or healthcare integration? Those answers matter more than ever. On the policy front, there's a new bill in Congress proposing a federal advisory commission on long-term care. The idea is to bring together experts who can tackle some of the hardest questions in senior care. How do we fund long-term care sustainably? What oversight is needed for assisted living and nursing homes? How do we support the workforce shortage? According to McKnight's Long-Term Care News, if created, the commission would evaluate everything from Medicaid coverage rules to staff training requirements. This might sound like more bureaucracy, but it could be a good thing. We all know the system is patchwork. Some facilities are highly regulated, others less so, and families are left confused. A national body looking at the big picture could push for more consistency and transparency. It's worth watching who gets appointed, how public input is gathered, and whether recommendations translate into action. Let's shift to oversight. A new policy briefing from Nursing Home 411 raises tough questions about how well regulators are protecting residents. Key takeaways: complaints often take weeks or months to investigate. Data on facility performance is patchy, making it hard for families to compare. Enforcement actions are inconsistent across states. For families, this means you can't always rely on regulators to spot problems first. Instead, you have to advocate, check inspection reports, talk to current families of residents, ask about staff ratios and turnover. Transparency shouldn't be optional. it should be built in. Until then, being proactive is the best defense. On the financial side, Ziegler's CFO Hotline Report offers a window into what senior living executives are worried about. Key themes: rising labor costs, staffing remains the #1 challenge. Energy and utility costs continue to climb. Growth projections are slowing. Some CFOs say they are delaying new projects or leaning more on technology to manage expenses. Others are exploring partnerships with healthcare providers to diversify revenue. For families, the takeaway is this: expect pricing pressure to continue. Operators will need to balance rising costs with what residents can actually afford. If you're evaluating a community, ask how they're handling costs. Do they have stable staffing? Are they investing in tech or partnerships to stay efficient? The answers give clues about future rate increases. Here's your tip of the week: how to know if your loved one's facility may be at risk of closure or decline. Here are 4 red flags to look out for. 1. Ownership changes, especially if the parent company is bankrupt. 2. Declining quality scores or new regulatory warnings. 3. High staff turnover. If the team changes constantly, that's a warning sign. 4. Deferred maintenance. Leaky roofs, broken elevators, peeling paint. If you see these, start asking more questions and have a backup plan. Being proactive helps avoid last-minute relocations. All right, it's time for our fun fact. Here's something you may not know: solo aging is on the rise. According to the Alliance for Health Policy's 2025 report, more older adults are aging without nearby family caregivers. This challenges the stereotype that every senior has adult children nearby to help. Communities and policies are starting to adapt more peer networks, co-housing, and volunteer supports. It's a reminder that aging looks different for everyone, and planning for independence is just as important as planning for family support. And that wraps up this week's edition of Senior Living News with Dale Corpus, powered by the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast. We covered a nursing home closing, stalled development projects, a proposed federal commission, oversight concerns, CFO outlooks, red flags for families, and even fun facts about solo agers. If you found this helpful, do me a favor, subscribe, like, and share so more families and professionals can stay informed. And remember, if your family is navigating a transition, you can book a free consultation and learn more about my services at www.simplifyseniortransitions.com for quick questions or just to connect. DM me on Instagram at SoulByDale. And don't forget, this show is also available as a podcast. You can listen to the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. If you enjoy it, please leave a review. It helps more families discover the resources and stories they need. I'm Dale Corpus, grateful you spent this time with me. Until next time, take care of yourself and your loved ones, and I'll be back next week with fresh news, practical tips, and maybe even something that makes you smile.